Hey, sports fans, welcome to another edition of Inside Sports alongside my colleague Nick Dietz. I'm Sean Kowalishin. And Nick, we got good news for everybody. There's going to be football this year as preseason
There is going to be
starts.
football, and
End of
not
this week.
surprised, but happy that it's all in place. And obviously now we have had a flurry of activity in the free agent market.
I think that's an understatement right there.
Yeah, I guess it's a
People-
blizzard,
Yeah.
tornado.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I mean, you see people going all over the place that you wouldn't necessarily expect to go there, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I had my preseason top 10 before this all happened. Number one was the Patriots. Now that all this is unfolded, number one, I still have New England Patriots up top. I mean, they picked up Chad Ochocinco, a deep threat to replace Randy Moss, a good target for Tom Brady, one of the most accurate QBs in the NFL. They picked up Albert Hainsworth, who didn't really try at all last year in Washington.
Yeah,
But
pathetic.
but now he's on arguably the best team in the NFL. I think that's motivation for him to try and become and play up to his full potential. They picked up Sean Ellis from the Jets, along with Vince Wilfork. I mean, that's one of the top defensive lines in the NFL. I mean, I think it's hard to argue against them.
Yeah, I think what they've been missing since they've won championships is a Richard Seymour. I mean,
Mhm.
he is what made, part of the pieces that made that team great. And then they lost the leaders like Vrabel, and
Mhm.
Teddy Bruschi and guys like that. And they really, their defense has been what's lacking the last couple years. Obviously,
Leadership in the
14-2
defense.
last year. I think they'll end up with the top record this year again.
Mhm.
I think or one of the top records.
Yeah.
I can't speak, obviously for the whole league, but probably tops in the AFC. With
I by far
number one
best team.
seed, the bye and everything. The only question is what's going to happen with the defense in the playoffs, because that's what's kind of let them down.
Mhm.
Mostly. I mean, the Giants. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a little bit of both, but I think they're also running out of time with Tom Brady's clock slowly running
Mhm.
out. But I think he'll have a great
But
season. So I agree with
Keep
you.
in mind, the Patriots drafted Ryan Mallon in the third round.
Oh, yeah,
6'7"
no.
pocket passer from
The
Arkansas.
future, the future could
Other-
be bright too, but their defense was young, just got stronger. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. The big question, I think, was in their secondary, and they didn't really strengthen that. So it'll be interesting to see
Yep.
if Merriweather
Again,
stops going for the big hit. The top
They
pass
got some
hit.
young linebackers though, so that's a
Yeah.
key factor
The
too.
shoe.
If they developed
Mayo,
a little bit,
very good.
if
linebacker.
they can get they play a 4-3, I believe. If they can get that to
No,
work,
they
or
play
3-4.
3-4.
If
Yeah.
they, if Albert can do well, and allow them to play a successful 3-4,
Yeah.
then those young linebackers can succeed. And their secondary, maybe they can overshadow it. So
Yep.
we'll see.
All right, at number 2, team that's been making all the buzz, the Philadelphia Eagles, run by Michael Vick and company. And boy, did they make some pickups, huh?
Yeah, they made a lot of pickups.
I think the biggest one was probably signing Nnamdi Asomugha, the cornerback from the
Mhm.
Raiders. Huge pickup, one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Good young corner, and it's going to make it a lot tougher.
I agree that they have the potential for the number 2. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say they traded Kevin Cobb to the Cardinals,
Mhm.
and in return they got Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, another
Yeah.
great corner. With also they have Asante Samuel. Their backfield is stacked. They picked up Jason Babin from Tennessee with like
Mhm.
10.5 sacks last year.
No,
stockpile.
I think they have the potential to be the second best team and possibly number 1 in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
The only question is going to be, can Michael Vick play up to how he played last year? I think he can. I'm not saying he won't, but you can have those years and then not have them again. You
Yeah. Mhm.
never know. If he plays well this year, the next year I'll be like, oh, he'll probably have a great year. But after one good year, you really can't say he's permanently the solution for the quarterback.
Oh, I
problems.
agree.
But other than that, they didn't do a ton on the offensive side
They
of the
picked
ball.
up Ronnie Brown to back up LaShawn McCoy. Ronnie
Yep.
Brown, quality back from Miami, and now Vince Young is Michael
Yep.
Vick's backup.
Which
so.
is exciting. Maybe they'll get him in. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But like you said, the defense is really what they strengthened. That's what they needed to strengthen
Exactly.
because
They
the
had one of the
defense
most
let them down.
explosive offenses last year.
And so if the offense can play as well as they did last year, and their defense does well, then the number 1, 2 team in the league.
Yeah, I think there's no reason we could easily see a Patriots Eagles Super Bowl, but it's if both teams can live up to their hype.
So then over to a team we have that hasn't made a ton of buzz in the off season, but maybe didn't have to, is the Green Bay Packers.
Yep, the reigning Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
I think
It's like his Justin Bieber.
you can
I made that
argue.
joke before.
Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
That's not what we're talking about, though.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right. They do have an elite quarterback behind their team, young elite quarterback.
Yep.
They have, they had a great offense and defense. They got Grant back
and James Starks. He really came up in the end of the season and the postseason for them. So, you think with Greg Jennings, Jermichael Finley, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, you figure all those guys coming back, you establish a run game for Aaron Rodgers. Now the play action becomes successful. Now
and that's what made them dangerous last year was the fact that they got a run game because the last couple seasons they haven't had one.
Exactly.
So the only concern I might have, and it's a small, I'm just nitpicking here, is a little bit of an aging. Those wide receivers are a little older, kind of like
Donald Driver is. I agree. Greg Jennings is kind of young. Nelson's getting up there.
But they're going to be great possession receivers. We'll see if any of them can, be that explosive guy, someone that maybe is a deep threat. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't really need that because he can do the play action, just get 9-10 yards a pass. That's all you need to win games.
And another key for Rodgers is his mobility. He moves better than a lot of the quarterbacks in the NFL. And their defense is great, too. No team, I think, runs the 3-4 better than them. With Clay Matthews, A.J. Hawk. Clay Matthews had 16.5 sacks last year.
So I think for them, it's strong. They've got an above-average offense and above-average defense. So let's just see if they can win the games in the postseason.
Oh, I agree. Number 4, how do you feel about the Atlanta Falcons at number 4?
I feel like these teams, the next couple we'll mention, like 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 thrown in there, are kind of probably going to end up, every which way at the end of the season. Falcons probably going to have one of the best offenses.
13-3 last year.
Obviously, yep.
They have Matt Ryan, who's really developing to a good quarterback. Michael Turner, excuse me, is really he's a great running back.
He's a big power back.
Yeah. Roddy White, one of the best receivers. They picked up Julio Jones in the draft in the 6th pick. A big physical back from Alabama, wide receiver, excuse me.
It's kind of like the thing with the Patriots almost. They're going to have the second, if not the first, if not the third best offense in the league. They are going to. The only problem is, are they going to have enough defense in the later ends of the season?
They picked up Ray Edwards from the Minnesota Vikings on a defensive end. He had 8 sacks last year. So they're trying to help their pass rush here, which is a good start. But that's exactly what I'm thinking is, can they help out? Can their defense keep
enough points off the board? Exactly. That's what teams like the Patriots have done in the past is they've scored 40 points, and then all you have to do is not give up 41.
Exactly.
Which is which is a fine thing, but what happens in the playoffs is sometimes you meet a team that keeps your team under 20, and then your defense can't hold the other team under 20. So we'll see what happens with that, but they are going to have a great team.
I definitely agree. Now, how do you feel about this? The New York Jets at number 5.
I'm a little bit biased only because I'm a Steelers fan, so, maybe I think you should put them a little higher, but no, I'm just playing. The Jets, a solid 5 pick,
they lost Braylon Edwards, Jericho Cotchery, but they replaced them with Plaxico Burress and Derek Mason.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Plaxico does. Unfortunately, that's kind of going to be a hit or miss. He's either going to do well or not do well. Because
I think he'll do well.
You think he will?
I think
he's got the athletic ability. He probably stayed in shape while he was in prison and stuff. The only question is going to be, it's a big jump going from nothing to the NFL again. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So speed of the game, we'll see what happens. But Sanchez is only a year wiser. Hopefully, if he can control his interceptions, which were a problem more in the season than the postseason. But if he can be consistent, that's his problem. If he can be consistent and the defense plays as well as last year, and then I think that they're going to be a contender with the Patriots for that division.
I agree, and I think you could say, Revis is coming back. They re-signed Cromartie. Mark Scott's coming back. Santonio Holmes. Their team. I don't think their team got any weaker. They did lose Sean Ellis, but Ellis is getting kind of old.
They kind of had a 2-back system anyway, so they can just replace it and
So I think they're going to be A-okay. I think they'll be the second best team in the AFC.